And for the third consecutive tournament, Egypt will not be at the Nations Cup. Remember, they've won the tournament 7 times. But what is really happening to Egypt? You can't say that of Nigeria because it's just 2 times they'll be missing out. Okay, hello and welcome to Sports This Morning. I'm Cecilia Omorogbe. Let's just start with the headlines. And of course, the big one is Nigerians are heartbroken as the Super Eagles failed to fly past Bafana for a spot at the Africa Cup of Nations taking place in Equatorial Guinea. And it's not just that. If you cast your mind back to 2012, Nigeria was also not at that tournament, and it was co-hosted by Equatorial Guinea. Is there something about this country? Well, I'm not really sounding superstitious this morning. And of course, another one is that Nigeria Football Federation is taking all the blames for the Super Eagles' failure to fly. Well, at least there's something to cheer about this morning. Jules Bianchi is out of artificial coma after almost 7 weeks and is already back home. Not really at home. He's in France right now from Japan, and of course he's recovering. He's at an intensive care unit, but he's recovering well, and of course, according to reports from France, he is stable right now. Well, Tayo Salam will be joining me for these and more. But first of all, let's just listen to what Nigerian fans are saying. They're really not happy that the Eagles could not win the game in Uyo last night.
It's sad because of the outcome of the result of the game. In fact, the point I can say the coach disappointed us, not the players. If had it been Keshi is a good coach, he's losing 2 goals. He would have made a substitution. It's a big embarrassment to the whole nation because Nigeria is a giant of Africa, in football and resources and everything. But we failed to qualify. It's a disappointment.
It's quite unfortunate that Nigeria didn't go through. It's so disappointing, you know. But that's football. We just have to take heart and move on.
Just take heart and move on. Of course, Nigeria is definitely not the only country that will not be there. I talked about that will not be there. I talked about Egypt earlier. They also would not be there. And of course, their case is rather worse. It's not as if I'm celebrating, but their case is worse because for the 3rd time, they will not be there. In Equatorial Guinea, co-hosted with Gabon, they were not there. And of course, in South Africa, they were not there. And this time around, they will not be at Equatorial Guinea. And funny enough, Guinea, that's the other Guinea who happens to be ravaged by, well, Ebola. They are at the Nations Cup, and they actually played all their matches in Morocco, who said they would not be hosting because of the fear of Ebola. Kind of ironic, you would say. Well, Tayo Salam joins me now on the program. Tayo, good morning, and how are you?
How am I? Like, I'm good, yeah. As you can see, I'm very good. It's good to be on the show again. Close but not close enough for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yesterday we talked about the fact how it was going to be very difficult.
There was a guy you mentioned.
Yeah.
Remember the guy you mentioned?
Yes, I did, yeah. But yesterday we just talked about the fact that it will be a very difficult match for the country, and it turned out to be so. Unfortunately, we ended up being at the wrong end of things, and we won't be at the Nations Cup. It's a shame, really, but then life must go on, and the competition will go on without Nigeria.
Yeah, definitely it will go on. And of course, well, so many tweets are coming from fans this morning. I think let me start with that so that I don't get to forget again from reading your tweet. Of course, you can also, while the program is ongoing, you can also send us your tweets. And of course, your comments on Facebook and on Twitter, you'll see it on your screen to be displayed shortly. Okay, that is it. Of course, Channels-Sports. Channels-Sports. That's on Facebook and on Twitter, Channels_Sports. And my own Twitter handle, SuccessWorld_09. So you can talk to us. And of course, from the views, from the ones we can really read, well, it's really much. We'll just take a few ones, the one that we actually is catching our attention this morning. And this one is coming from Udie Samson. He says, Stephen Keshi and the entire team should be overhauled. NFF should get a good technical coach. Okay, that's coming from Samson. Another one is also Beatrice is saying that NFF should be blamed for Nigeria not making it at the Nations Cup in 2015. They didn't give Keshi a contract after winning AFCON. Of course, NFF is already taking the blame. You're right about that. And Kingsley Osaga is saying that Keshi is not a good coach. His selection and tactics are questionable since Confederation Cup. Okay, this one's coming from Kingsley Osega, and Rotimi Olusheyi is saying that, I remember saying Keshe is not a good coach, but lucky, and Nigeria need a foreign coach to move forward. Okay, Rotimi is actually from Australia. Well, thank you for sending your comments. And of course, this one is coming in from Emmanuel Joseph. He said the main issue we have is that we don't have a team yet. We will continue accidental winning until we have a team. Okay, that's much we can read at this morning. I think, Tao, you will agree with some of that.
Yeah, actually, very predictable responses from the viewers. I can understand why they're very disappointed with what went down yesterday in Uyo. Like I said, it's very unfortunate, but then if we just look at the game realistically, we should look at how South Africa played in this particular match against Nigerians, then we'll have no complaints whatsoever in terms of the final result. I actually thought we were very lucky to get a draw in the game, because when South Africa went down to 10 men, then that's when Nigeria really came into their own, but then by then it was too late. Even though Sonny Aluko really tried to make things happen, but then it wasn't meant to be. It's a shame really that we won't be going there to defend our Nations Cup title. I remember in 1994 we couldn't defend the title in 96 as well, in South Africa as well, but that was due to political reasons. This time around it's purely footballing reasons, and that's why it really hurts me the most. But then, that's how it goes.
That's the way it goes. Of course, if you check Ahmed Musa from the beginning of the game, the first 10 minutes, Super Eagles were in charge. He had some misses. Do you think that was where actually they got it wrong, when they refused to take their chances when it was needed? Yeah,
it's all part of the game. Playing, if you don't take your chances at this very high, at the highest level of football, if you don't take your chances, then you're bound to get punished somehow later on in the game, and that's exactly what happened. Ahmed Musa really fluffed his lines when he had the chances. I'm sure if those goals had gone in for Nigeria, then who knows, we could have just gone on from there to build on it and probably record a convincing win. But that's perhaps now. It didn't happen, and the South Africans really came into their own later on and did what they were supposed to do. I talked about Roti yesterday. Yes. It sounds like a Nigerian name, like a female Nigerian name. But what we saw yesterday was a very explosive and powerful forward. I talked about how Ambrose Efe and the entire defense line have to be ready for him, but obviously they were not ready, at all. All the goals, the 2 goals he scored, it was him just basically overpowering. Also the defense. Overpowering the defense line and outpacing them. And it's a shame really, because I thought Stephen Keshi would have identified that particular guy for special treatment. But obviously that wasn't the case. It's a shame really that he's gotten to this level, a very low point.
Okay, now what's your overall assessment of the whole team? How will you assess the performance of the teams generally?
You mean Nigeria?
Nigeria and of course South Africa.
No, it's very clear, very obvious. South Africa have been the best on side all through the qualifying series. There's no doubt about that. And then the Congo as well too. I was very impressed with the way they went to Sudan. A very crucial game. You remember Nigeria lost in Khartoum.
Yes.
But Congo went there. They went there with a mission, which was to get 3 points, and they did it very well. I'm not really taking the scoreline was 1-0, but they absolutely dominated that game. They could have had more goals in that game. So Congo and South Africa, definitely the best teams in the group. Nigeria, shame, it didn't happen for us at all. The writing was on the wall. It's been on the wall for a long time. With the way we started the qualifying series, losing at home and losing to Sudan as well too. So what more can I say?
Okay, well, let's just take a look at other results. Some countries actually qualified. Some countries we thought would not be there. Congo, DR, for example, are actually at the Nations Cup. They're going there. You also have Gabon booking a spot. You have Mali, of course, needing a win, and of course they got that victory they needed. And of course, Côte d'Ivoire also, all they needed was a draw. And of course, they ensured that that draw came to be. They held Cameroon to a goalless draw, and of course they got a point, and for them they are at the Nations Cup. So you also have about 16 countries, all of them completed now, and which of these countries you think can actually go ahead and win it? Nigeria is not there. Egypt, who have won the record 7 times, they are definitely not at the Nations Cup.
Yeah, the case of Egypt is a very peculiar one. I really don't know what's going on with that team. After winning it back to back from 06 to 010, they've ended up not qualifying for the last 3 editions now, so that's not a coincidence at all. There's something wrong that they need to fix. But then going to the teams that are likely to be the main title contenders, I'm looking at Algeria. Algeria is a very good side. The qualifying series they've had has been very impressive. So I'm looking at Algeria, I'm looking at Cote d'Ivoire as well too, and I'm looking like the likes of Cameroon. You know, the usual suspects, Ghana as well. So it'll be a very exciting tournament, make no mistake about that, without Nigeria.
Okay, it's definitely going to be like that. You can see what it looks like at the 2015 AFCON final group games. But if we can't really see that, let's just listen to one of the countries who are contending for the title. I'm talking about South Africa. They won it once. That was when they hosted, and Nigeria, as defending champion, did not, go to that Nations Cup. Will they also have the chance to win it this time around? Let's get to listen to Sheikh Mashaba, what actually made South Africa what they are this year.
We don't want to go and add numbers there. We want to go compete, and we're looking forward to get to the finals. I mean, we have played strong teams in this group. Sudan, Congo, Nigeria. Those are not pushovers. So it says the boys are ready for the AFCON out in Equatorial Guinea. If you look at in the past year, our junior teams, the under-17s, are the champs of the Zone 16. Zone 6, and they have qualified for the African Youth Championships. Our under-20 as well, they are the current COSAFA Cup champions, and they have qualified for the African Youth Championships as well. Without juniors doing well, there is not much we can do. With the juniors doing well, that's why if you look at in this team, we've got 4 to 5 players who played under-17s and under-20s.
Over the last 2 games, I think we've shown that we have a bit of everything. We have some great players going forward, and when the going's tough, I know we've gone and lost a goal in the last minute, but I think we've shown that we can put our bodies on the line. We're willing to fight for one another, and that's something that the coach has really installed in this team.